What is it?
Just wait. Camera rolling. Hey. Camera rolling.
Today we're going to look at the Fonofale model. A model that was created by Pasifika for Pasifika people. The model is actually made up of a structure of a Samoan fale, or the house, a traditional house. And it is said to embody all the determinants that make up a Pacific Islander. So here it goes. It's broken up into three parts. The foundation of the house, the four po that support the house, and then the roof. Let's start off with the foundation of the house. The foundation represents family. Family is support, and that's what the foundation of the house is. That's what it represents for a person. Knowing that family will always be there for you. As a proud Samoan and Tongan, I would love to say that my family plays a big part in my life. They play a big part in my well-being. They're the reason why I'm here today, and they're the reason why I do the things that I love to do. If we look at the next part, look at the po, the four po. Now each of these po have different meanings. The first po, the physical po, represents of how the person's biological and the physiological, like how the body works, how they feel as a person. Personally for me, I play Australian rules football, and what I do with this is I have to be really fit. And when you look at the saying, my body is a temple, I kind of stray away from it. This is mainly to my diet. So that's when we look at it like that way. So when it comes to one of the four po, you look at the physical sense, and that is the meaning of the physical sense. The second po is spirituality. On a personal level, I am of a Christian religion, a Christian faith, and I align myself with the churches, the Congregational Church of Samoa, or EFKS, and within my Tongan side, I align myself with the Constitutional Church of Tonga, or SKTT, and I know that God plays a big part of my life because I look to Him for guidance, and I know that faith is a big part of my life. And as a Pacific Islander, majority of Pacific Islanders have a faith in, have a strong faith within Christianity, and knowing that is really important. And I think that's what the creator of the Fonofale model, Fui Maono Kao, try to get into the model itself, knowing that spirituality would be a big point, which is also relatable to the Te Whare Tapawha model that the Māori use. The third po is the mental po, and this relates to the mentality of a person. It represents how the person thinks, every emotion that comes through to their mind, and from my point of view, I look at me having the support of my family and me knowing that I'm happy doing what I love to do as a sign of strength within my mental post. So looking at that from that point of view, it kind of gives me a perspective of how I look out at life, a positive, having a positive outlook. And I think that's also what Fui Maono try to get into that model, knowing that the mental state of a person was important. If we look at the fourth po, it is the other. It is classified as other, and what that means by what Fui Maono Kao tried to get out of that was knowing that it wasn't limited to a lot of things. So if we have a look at the Hauora model, or the Te Whare Tapawha model, we notice that they have four walls within the marae. So they are the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the mental and emotional. So we have a look at those four aspects, and we know that we can compare them to what we have here with the Fonofale model. The other can include, but not limited to, sexuality, gender, age. Also, it can come with those things. So, I think it's really important of what that aspect of the Fonofale model brings to it within those 4 pos, and those are the 4 things that help support the house itself. When we look at the third part of the fale, and this is the roof of the fale. Now, within the Fonofale model, it represents culture, knowing that the roof will shelter the family for life. So, as a proud Pacific Islander of Tongan and Samoan descent, I take my culture and the heritage very seriously. I take them with both pride. When I look at, an example of this is when I look at both sides of my family and how similar they are, and also how unique they can be with their differences, because a lot of Pacific Island cultures have similar beliefs and similar values, but also they have similar languages. If you have a look at the similarity between the cultures, you'll understand. You'll see words that are similar. For an example of this is, if we look at Hawaiian, Tongan and Samoan, the Hawaiian word for love is aloha. The Samoan word for love is alofa. The Tongan word for love is ofa, or ofalahiatu, or the Māori word, aroha. Think of the similarities between those cultures and how they pre-exist. From my point of view, I look at being Tongan as being proud and being excited all the time. And I think this has something to do with the monarchical status of the country. Being the last monarchy of the Pacific, there's obviously something to be proud about, and as a culture in itself. Then I know the difference between my Tongan side and my Samoan side is, my Tongan side is somewhat over the top, loud, but still they are family, and they are proud of who they are and what they've become as a people. With the Samoan side, I look at them as hardworking, malu or chilled, and very friendly people. Tongans are friendly too, yeah. I look at them both sides as friendly, but I like the Samoan side as we're more chilled, with the chieftain system or the matai system. And I think I look at my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, as an example of that, as he is a chief of his village in Samoa, more like a home away from home. So he still carries out his duties within the community, and takes care of them from the other side of the country, or from the other side of the planet, pretty much. So now that we've got that sussed, and we've looked at the Fonofale model as a whole, there are 3 other things that need to be considered, and these encapsulate the model as a whole. 3 things that need to be considered is the environment of the person. So thinking about where they come from. So for me, I grew up in Mount Roskill. I've been a Central Aucklander all my life, and I feel like the culture of this community is more diverse. So it's a very diverse community. So it allowed me to understand the various cultures. Instead of looking through one perspective, I'm able to look through multiple perspectives from what they are. So it's more better to not assume what someone's going through when you know that this is their culture and this is how they'll be. And I think that's something that's really helpful as a future PE teacher. The second thing is just context. Looking at the context of the situation, it's just important. So just always looking at the context of how the person will feel and stuff like that. Just looking at where they are in time and space. And the last part of it is the time. Looking at the historical aspects of the model itself, looking at where that person's been or where they're going in the future. And I think that's important. I think an example of that for most Pacific Islanders, especially here in Auckland, is the dawn raids. The impact of being an overstayer. how did that affect them, you know? And I feel like those stereotypes actually break down, you know, and they move throughout generations and that, and then you'll start to see a little bit of why we have to look at the issue as it is. And I think that's the cool thing about what Carl actually brought up within the model, or what he addressed when he contacted the various Pacific Island communities throughout New Zealand. So I think that's the important thing. And those are pretty much it for the Fonofale model as a whole. Now let's get back to the health issue at hand. When you think about youth suicides, you think about how unfortunate it is that New Zealand have some of the highest rates of youth suicides in the world. I mean, for a small nation, we're looking at least 11 to 100,000 people per year committing suicide, and I think it needs to change. And for it to change, we need to look at it from a holistic point of view. Or we could use the Fonofale model as an example to look at someone's health, their health or well-being, to kind of see where they're going through. When you think about it, think about what we've looked through throughout the model. So, with the foundation, do they have any support with the foundation of the Fale? Do they have any support from their family? If not, why is it that case, you know? And without the foundation, without the proper support that they have as a person, I feel like that their whole well-being will collapse. And this is why I think a lot of Pasifika youth tend to go into this voyage of darkness, where they don't know where they're going, or they don't know who to turn to. And I think that's why that a lot of suicides seem to happen, because they don't know what to do, they don't know how to deal with their emotions and be taught properly, stuff like that. And I think that's probably one of the main issues that us as New Zealanders have, is we need to have a look at the seriousness of the matter, and try and find a way to end the cycle of you know, relentless deaths that tend to happen within New Zealand, or to someone that's close to you. I mean, at a personal level, I've never had someone who's committed suicide, but it's something that's not really nice to know about, or not nice to talk about. A touchy subject that us as future PE teachers need to figure out. And lastly, as future PE teachers, we need to have a look at what the importance is of a person. So instead of assuming that someone is going to be okay just because they aren't talking, and that does not mean that they're completely okay. And I think for us going into lower decile schools, or into that kind of area of expertise, why don't we look at how they're feeling? Why don't we look at their well-being as a whole? I think the purpose of Fuimaona to bring up this model was a good choice. I think the reason why he used it was for us as teachers, as members of the community, as leaders of their families, to kind of have a look at where they are, or how they're doing within the school system. I think it's important that you guys need to make the decision, and to look at how Fuimaona's work has been carried out, carry out his legacy.